Perspectives with Asima Silva, and we are coming to you from Main Street in Worcester, the studios of WCCA TV. And if you've been with us over the last couple of weeks, you've been hearing a story that, quite frankly, you haven't heard anywhere else. This is a story that is not being reported in the American media. It is something that has been picked up by the BBC and others who are beginning to tell the story, but it's a story that certainly needs to be told, and it is about Muslim community, people who are citizens in China, and it is about re-education camps. It is about what some are calling concentration camps. It is about family members that are going missing and their family members who don't know what has happened to them and the limbo that they are in, and will they ever see their loved ones again. It's a powerful story, it's an emotional story, and it really is something, Asima, that you have been talking about that, again, for whatever reason, is being ignored. And in part, I think, because, as we will be speaking with our guests in just a moment, there is fear of reprisal. There's fear of what could happen to family members as people are finally starting to tell their story. But I think that fear is being outweighed by the fact that people are realizing that if they don't speak out and this story isn't reported, then their family members may not be seen again.
It's getting out of hand, and that is the reason why a lot of the family members are now deciding that they're going to come forward, even though they may be risking the lives and the safety of the family members that are still in China in the Uyghur community. And the family members that are coming forward are extremely brave. They know they're taking a risk. They will not be able to visit back home to China to visit their family members that they know that they have contact with. And the reason why they're coming forward is because they have lost connection with more than one family member. And this is their way of asking for help and telling the world what's really going on. So we have another two guests today, two different people again, similar stories, but they want to share their stories and tell us about what is going on with them and how the trauma and the feelings that they are going through with not knowing what's happened to their family, family members disappearing. So I'd like to welcome Adila and Maria to the show. And would you mind introducing yourselves to us?
Hi, my name is Adila Sadir. I came here 2010 for college, for get higher education, and since 2010 I never went back to China and stayed here, finished my college degree, and currently working at Silk Road Uyghur Cuisine.
And Maria, it is your husband who you have not seen, your father.
Yeah, my father.
Who you have not seen. Can you tell me a little bit about, you came here in 2010, and then your mother can tell us a little bit about the story as well. And I know that you're going to help us translate a little bit. In 2010, when you came, were you already starting to feel that this was a possibility, or has it really escalated over the last couple of years?
You know, in 2009, there's like big protests happened in Xinjiang. It's basically student protests for the, for government to equalize human rights for Han and the Uyghur people. And after that, we disconnected electricity, disconnected internet for 10 months. After that, my family feel fear. We stayed there, it's not safe. And so my father tried to get me passport as soon as possible. I'm the first one who got passport in my family. We have to apply the passport with many documents, and you have to go through many places to get the passport. It's not easy. So I'm the first one, and I came here after I get the student visa.
So your father's name?
Shadik. My father's name is Shadik Ali.
Okay, and is that the only family member that you have lost touch?
No, we, in my father's side, there are 4 siblings and many cousins. And in my mother's side, there are 11 siblings and many cousins. Basically, all the men are gone. Only young children, all my grandma, both of my grandma is here, young children, and who can work, they gone. Some ladies, but basically all the men gone.
So how many people, just so that our audience understands, how much a family has been affected, how many people are we talking about?
For we could know now, it's more than 30.
Of
like,
just your family?
Just like my family.
And do you believe that this is atypical, or is this for a typical Uyghur family to have lost touch with 30 members of their family?
Yes, like people around us, like my friends, they lost their connection with father, mother, like, or they lost connection with all family members. Like, that's very general nowadays for us.
But Maria, were you there when they came for your husband?
Siz uyadımdan sonra yoldaşınız kege vakti deydi. No, my mom was here.
She was already here. Yeah, so but it still must be very traumatic for you and your mother to have heard. How did you find out that your father had been put into? Are they calling it a re-education camp?
Yeah, they say it's re-education camp, but my father, he got higher education. He went to college, and he worked in the bank in the when he was young, and then after that he owned his self business. Like, he has good business. How come people like this would get re-educated?
Yeah, well, it used to be that when they talked about re-education, they meant re-education meant to make sure that you were going to be a good communist, a good member of the Communist Party. You think this is something different, though?
Even though my father, he's like very good citizen, like he doesn't do anything, like he doesn't smoke, he doesn't drink, he doesn't do anything harm to this society. He's like very good man. He just know how to work and send us to here to study.
How did you find out that your father was taken? Because if both of you are here, and I'm assuming your siblings are also here, how did you find out that he was taken?
I speak with my father every daily because many people, they've been like putting to the camp, so we speak with him every daily. And then the day before he missing, like 2 weeks ago, he told me one phone number and say, if anything happened to me or if you cannot find me, you can call this number. This is a very good friend of mine. He told me that, and I also still have the number. And on the June 28, 2018, and I spoke with my father last time, and then the next day, he didn't reply. And been like after 2 weeks, we find out that he went to the camp.
So when was this? When in 2018?
June.
June. So it's been about 6 months.
Yes.
Since you have heard from your father.
Yes.
Boy, have you've been in touch with other members of the community, of your community, not just your family members, but other members, and you've been hearing similar stories? You talked about your father being somebody who worked so hard. That's what we heard from some of our last guests who were telling the same story, and people who have just been, as I think you said, like good citizens. So what is it in your community that you think is going on? Why would your father be put into a re-education camp?
Because we're born as Uyghur and we believe in Islam. That's the reason why Chinese doesn't like us. First of all, we look different, we speak different, we write different, we believe in different. So they don't want something different. They want everyone just be same, believe in communism, practice one thing, and speak Chinese.
That's the re-education, is to take away your culture, to take away your identity.
Yes. They just want our ethnic group become Chinese.
Has there been any family member that has returned back from this re-education camp?
Return back?
Anybody that you've known from your friends who's been taken away but then has returned?
But in the earlier, this happened, like some people went there and came back. But I know in the earlier.
See, that's the most fearful thing.
Yes.
That it sounds as if you go to be re-educated and then you never return. That and I get that's probably what you fear for your father.
Yes, majority of people we didn't hear back. Like the re-education camp started 2016. Some people since 2016 they have been missing. some were returned back to their home, but they're not that normal anymore. They're not healthy. They got fear, they got health problem, they got cycle problem. Like I known one person in my real life. He returned after 5 months, and he got tortured, and he got tortured on his face, ear, so he has hearing problem now.
And this happened when he went to the camp. So that's what they. So yeah. So that's what's probably happening behind that. I'm so sorry for what you and your family are going through. Because you are speaking out, are you finding, or do you hope that America, that American politicians, that your congressman or someone will start to pay attention to this, and are they doing anything on your behalf?
I hope, and our wish is that America helps us. Except America, no one can help us. Like, even though we're middle of Central Asia, but those countries not powerful as China nowadays. Only America can be more powerful than China. So only place we can go is here. Only people we can ask is American. So I wish like people could help us here.
Have you, because it does seem as if, I mean, these are human rights violations that are going on. Have you talked to some people who are in power, such as a congressman or someone, to see if they can help?
I don't know many powerful people,
Right.
But in my community, like many people are working for this. Like people they know, they get contact with them, share the story. So.
Yeah. Well, sharing the story is a big part of it, which of course is what you're what you're doing here.
Yeah, what we're doing now is like to talk to neighbors, tell people that they know Uyghurs, like more. We just want more people know Uyghurs, and more people knows our story. Like we've been tortured.
So you were able to come here with the student visa. How are you able to get some of your other family members? And people can't see, but you have not just your mother here with you, but you have some other family members as well today.
All of us, like me, I came 2010 with student visa. My sister came here 2012 with student visa. My mom came with tourist visa. On 2013, my father and my brother both came with tourist visa.
And if you return, what happens?
My mom has a very strong story too. When she last returned to China, like in the beginning of years, she came to visit us, like 2 months, 3 months, and she go back to China because my father there and the majority family there. And the last time she went back to China on 2015. On 2015, she got held by police in the Beijing airport. And they held her for Beijing airport for 3 hours. 3 hours and in separate room, and asked her many questions and took her passport away and checked everything, phone, everything. After that, they sent her to the Urumqi, like they contact with the Urumqi police, and they sent her back to Urumqi.
Well, that is terrifying. So it seems to me that it would really be, unfortunately, even though your father is still in China, it would be too dangerous for any of you to return, because this time it was 3 hours and then you were let go. The next time it might be that you aren't let go at all.
So for me, I did political asylum like in back 2011. So now I'm U.S. citizen, and the rest of my family, they also got the green card. So we won't go back.
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge discussion obviously going on in America, and when we talk about political asylum and we talk about the safety of America, I mean, this is what we're talking about.
Now, the question that as you're talking, I'm getting very curious on is, with the rest of your family being in China, what do you see their future as? You're saying all the men are gone. And what are the women and the young children and the elderly doing? How are they surviving?
Well, basically, they just using whatever they have. Like in the past, when the men here, they worked hard, they save whatever they save, they're using for now. And I don't know, for my family, we try to send them some money back, like when they ask for or when they need it. I don't know how they cannot talk too much. Like every time I speak with my family member in the back, we just say simple thing. We just want to know they're safe. If you say something detailed, it's harm for them. They might get arrested or they might get into the re-education camp. So we just say, are you okay? Is she okay? Is another one okay? That's it.
Yeah. Maria, I don't want to leave you and your story out. If there are some things that you want to say, please. What is it that you would like us to know?
Siz bizga degidek nima hikoyalaringiz bor, degidek gaplaringiz bo'lsa degdi.
Shu hozir Xitoy hukumatining qilayotgan irqiy qirg'inchiligini mush Amerika hukumatiga shuni to'xtatishini, shuni umid qilamiz. Butun shu bolalar, onalar.
Yeah, my mom's hope is like America could help us at least just let Chinese not to killing us anymore. Like this is like it's more than what fascists did to the people. It's we don't want anything from the government. We just want freedom of living. That's the only thing. Like no one wants something ask for anything. Like when I was in Urumqi, like we lived a happy life. Like no one asked for something. Uyghur people are very kind. We're friendly. Like we happy for every day. Like people, my ethnic group, very very happy people. We've been living happy for our life, but Chinese like messed everything. We don't want anything.
Yeah.
We just want a freedom of living.
You wonder what suddenly happened that made them decide to take this action, and is it because of the geographic area? Do you think it's because of Muslim religion? Do you think? I mean, you mentioned before that you don't look like you're from China.
Yes. First of all, geographic area, because Xinjiang is bordered with 8 different countries. Since we occupied by China, like December 1949, it happens every 10-20 years. It happens like big protests or something. Like I remember, for me, I'm too young to know many things. I remember in 1989 there were a big protests happen. And vaqasi 90 qanchinchi yil bo'lgan? 92-98. And in the 90s there were protests happened, and the 2009 protests happened. But except those years, we just wanted to live free, and Xinjiang has many gas, like many things, natural resources that China could use. And the big land is 1/6 of the Chinese land. They never want to give away to any places. If China lost Xinjiang, means he will lose Tibet, he will lose the Mongolia, even though even Taiwanese is like in the generation might be Chinese, but if China give away Xinjiang, they have to give away those places. So they're so hard on us. Like they're giving all the hardness to Uyghur.
You have an independent spirit, and they're trying to break that.
Yeah. So why do you think your father was targeted? Before, the previous guest had talked about if they showed more religiosity or if they showed that they were behaving more in a Muslim behavior, they were targeted. So why do you believe that your family members, especially your father, might have been targeted?
My family is a very religious family. My mom's father, he translated Quran to Uyghur language, and he has many students. And my father's father also very religious person. But my father, he's very religious too, but he doesn't very speak out. I don't know, maybe because he traveled overseas. He had passport. He went to many different countries for the business travel, and he visited us here. I don't know. We don't know the reason.
Yeah, it seems as if it's so many. I mean, it is just this
Right.
whole roundup that is happening as
Right.
well. And you said earlier that you think that it's even worse than it was back in the 30s or 40s with fascist times, or at least it's that's what everybody is comparing it to. And yet, even though we swore never again, if I walked down the street and I asked 1,000 people in America, I don't think one of them would know what is happening. This is happening, and yet no one seems to know about it.
So now correct me if I'm wrong. I think also the fear is the Chinese don't bury bodies, they cremate. And from what I'm understanding in these re-education camps, they're estimating anyone from 1 million to 5 million
People
who have been rounded up.
Yes.
But bodies are not coming out because their tradition is to cremate. So exactly how many have already passed or have been killed?
We don't know.
We don't know. Correct?
They burn it. They have faculty. I read about this. It's called what? It's called
one of those, I think, the cremation chambers.
Yeah, the crematorium. But
Yes.
but when you start talking about that, I mean, the echoes then of what happened in Nazi Germany in the concentration camps is just
Right.
I mean, it's
And I
just
think that's
it's
the biggest
horrible.
concern
Yeah.
because nobody knows, because according to space, in terms of space and the landmass and where all these camps are, they can hold only so many. And the fact that people keep going in but not as much coming out is the concern and the indication of then these bodies are being cremated.
Yeah, 1 to 5 million. So it seems as if there are two things going on. I mean, the one thing is to they have a people that they want to make sure that you completely assimilate. They're taking all of the men. Religion definitely seems to play a part in it, but also the resources seem to play a part in it. Are they trying? Is there some way in which your people control, even though you're Chinese citizens, that your people control some resources, and they need to physically remove you to be able to have those resources?
no.
No.
We never
Okay.
had a real power.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
The past, since 1949, we never had a real power.
Oh yeah.
We occupied by China, totally, they control everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
What would you like to see happen? I mean, what do you hope will happen going forward?
I want Chinese government shut down those camps and release my relatives and all other people from suffering there.
Hope that they do the right thing. And the only way that I can think of that is for the story to get out and some sort of pressure to be put on, for there to be public outrage around, and it has to be from around the world that this is happening. And that seems to be a difficult thing. Again, you're talking about it. I wouldn't have known if you didn't have the guests who came
I have
on.
to be honest, even as a Muslim, I did not know about it. I ended up being asked to an event. As you know, we've done many shows on the Burma Rohingya issue, and I'm on the Burma Task Force, and I was then asked to, as part of Burma Task Force, to attend this particular event where they were going to talk about this issue, and I had heard about it very, lightly in certain conversations, but no one ever knew quite everything. and they didn't know what details it was. They would say simply, or something's happening in China, and but there was no concrete facts to what they were saying, or they couldn't share much facts. But then at this event, I was shocked. And that's when I believe that many of your community members, including your cousin, I had met your cousin, stood up and spoke about some of her family members that have disappeared. And your cousin shared that she was traumatized, that she had a lot of trauma from her family members missing,
Sure.
and not being able to contact them to find out how they were doing for months.
No, I mean, I can't. I mean, I just can't even imagine.
Yeah, like since not many people know, because since Chinese government occupied us, they just control us totally. They don't let anyone know about us because we have many natural resources. They don't want people know. And even our ethnic group, like, we like our own land. We don't like to go travel much or go other country. Like, we love our land. We stayed there like generation by generation. So we didn't know many like outside sources in the history, in the past. Not like Tibetan, they have been fight for 60 years, but we just started to fight like recently. So not many people know us, but thanks God now more and more people know.
More people. It seems as if 70 years ago, I mean, you became part of China. It seems almost as if you could have become part of one of these other countries that had, and maybe had more in common with some of the other countries.
But in terms of ethnicity, your ethnicity is also Turkish.
Yes.
And so I think that's where, some of the differentiation of the mainland Chinese versus this community in Xinjiang is different.
We have just a minute left, enough time for you to, and thank you so much for your story.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So to finish up, sharing my perspective, this is a topic that I covered for a few shows at this point, but only because it is that much more important to know about, to talk about, and having families share their experiences. The more you find out that each one of these families has very similar stories, losing their family member, not being able to contact them on months and years. And they are very brave. They could possibly be endangering their other family members who are still back in China, but they are saying enough is enough and asking the American people to help out. So please, if you can help out, share this video, share this content, share this with your local politician, your state politician, your state representative, House of Representative, and senator, and ask the government of the United States to stop. We said never again, but it is happening. And we do need, as Americans, to help stop it. Thank you so much.